Luigi's Mansion 3 from Next Level Games, in my opinion, was overall a work of art. The graphics were visually stunning, there were great lighting effects, very cool looking shadows, the sound design and music was all top notch, and despite being a family friendly affair, the game even had its share of jump scares, along with a very healthy dose of comic relief. But we've had 3 Luigi's Mansion titles now, and though this latest iteration was technically in a hotel, it didn't really change the formula all that much. Adding Luigi allowed for some new and fun puzzles, but otherwise it was once again very straightforward in terms of going after your friends and using Professor Egad's poltergust vacuum to suck up all the ghosts along the way. Having a hotel was a great idea to allow for a variety of themes between the floors, such as a boiler works, a dance floor, and a fitness center to name just a few. The boss ghosts were often very amusing, for example the fitness center boss being vulnerable during his little showboating, or peck dancing, and despite the hotel owner Helen annoying me during her fight, the actual characters are all very charming and funny. So what's next for Luigi's Mansion? Well, if we're fortunate enough to get another one soon, Nintendo can likely get away with not changing up the formula at all, but I think there's some room to explore while still keeping the Luigi's Mansion vibe. We've had mansions, we've had hotels, and one idea I've seen out there already is to have the crew go on a cruise ship. They don't have to do much in terms of plot here, it could be just like Super Mario Sunshine, where they're all going on vacation and it just so happens that the ship happens to be haunted. I think they'd easily be able to still capture the Luigi's Mansion vibe in terms of having different themed rooms if they still wanted to, but you could have exterior portions of the ship as well, and this would give opportunity to show off some stunning water effects. Especially in some moonlight, there'd be a great spooky vibe to it, and you could also show the room swaying slightly back and forth as if showing the ship moving amongst the sea. I could see that potentially being annoying too, so toggling that on and off could be a great option as well, sort of like an FPS having an option to toggle head bob on and off. And since Luigi's Mansion is a parody of sorts, there's plenty of great games to get inspiration from already, such as Resident Evil Revelations. Not saying Luigi's Mansion has to get all gory all of a sudden, that would be pretty strange, but there's plenty of games out there developers can play themselves to get some new ideas. Another place Luigi and the gang could potentially go might be on a train. In this case it would have to be a Phantom train, not to any Final Fantasy VI fans out there. The only potential problem is that trains by their own nature are linear, so this might work better as a section of the game. Which brings me to my next point, maybe it doesn't have to stay in one location. Take for example many of the Resident Evil games. You might start outside in a forest, move into a mansion, move to a lab from there. Or for any Resident Evil 4 fans, going from a village to a castle to an island. So you could explore different locales too. There might be other locations that would lend themselves well to a bigger environment, and a large shopping mall could potentially work. At least a couple of the Silent Hill games have played with the shopping mall concept, and these could be as large as the developer wants to make them. Instead of a hotel with 15 floors, most of which aren't overly large, maybe in this case there could be less floors but way more square footage, or way more area, and a little less hand-holding from Luigi's faithful ghost pup. Which I'm not saying to take him out, as I think the ghost dog is actually pretty cool, but maybe a little less streamlined and maybe a little more Metroidvania, so to speak, just in terms of having to backtrack, look for keys, or solve puzzles to advance. Or how about an amusement park? This could potentially be a little different in the sense that you'd have a large exterior area, maybe with tents set up all over the park, and all the tents could have different themes, whether one is more circus and clown themed, or maybe there's some roller coaster sections as well. Another idea with the park would be for it to be a small open world of sorts, similar to the setup of Bowser's Fury, where you're free to move about the entire map with each section having its own goal. Having an open world, however, might not feel like Luigi's Mansion, so if we still had a compartmentalized overall box for Luigi to explore, there are more and more options. Taking some inspiration from the evil within, maybe a hospital or a psychiatric ward, having a sanitarium as a setting may get a little bit too dark for a Luigi's Mansion game, but just brainstorming some thoughts here. A large castle could be cool, but might feel limited to what kind of things are actually inside it. Having tons of different themes inside a castle might just feel like we're exploring another hotel, which incidentally we've seen in other classic horror titles like Silent Hill 2. Well, here's a thought. If you've been a longtime Nintendo fan and lived through the GameCube era, and have played your share of survival horror titles, you've probably played a little game called Eternal Darkness: Sanity's Requiem. In my opinion, a fantastic title from developer Silicon Knights, who mixed their level design with a mansion being a hub world of sorts, and ancestors of the protagonist shown in different time periods and locations, piecing together the story in all of the chapters. A few of those chapters took place in a cathedral, and that could potentially be the perfect setting. Old cathedrals can have a very gothic feel, Batman 89 anybody, perhaps with gargoyles sitting on top of them. Why would Luigi and team be at the cathedral? Well, Super Mario Odyssey showed Bowser trying to marry Peach against her will, but maybe they've just been invited to a wedding for a toad or something. The plot really won't matter too much as long as they can get the setting right. Circling back to a multiple locations idea, maybe Luigi's Mansion 4 could take a more adventure-style approach and see Mario and Luigi traverse familiar territory from the other franchises. Maybe we could see them going to a department store to stock up on all their plumber needs, and what better way to get there than on some go-karts? Maybe through a version of New Donk City that's been haunted. That might make some people think they could take New Donk City and make the entire game of Luigi's Mansion 4 out of it, but I feel like that might be more quantity over quality there. Though I very much did enjoy Luigi's Mansion 3, at the same time I'm glad it didn't overstay its welcome, as sucking up ghosts over and over again can get a bit repetitive by the end, and all the more reason I'm having all these random thoughts about what's next for Luigi's Mansion. And on that note, maybe Luigi could actually get a melee weapon this time, maybe a trusty plunger. We did have the suction shot in Luigi's Mansion 3, plunger attached, but it was more of a tool than an actual weapon. Whatever Nintendo decides to do, I'm sure will be great either way they slice it, even if it is just another mansion. I believe we'll see plenty of variety again, lots of humor and charm, and I'm personally looking forward to seeing even better graphics in the next round for Luigi, whether we find ourselves in a mansion again, another hotel, or if we'll see our heroes go to some different locations next time. Until then, there's plenty of great games around the corner, and as usual, thanks for watching everyone. Don't forget to click subscribe before you go, like and comment, share the video around, let me know your thoughts on Luigi's Mansion 3 or what you'd like to see in Luigi's Mansion 4, and also click the bell for notifications as my schedule is getting very sporadic right now. So hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you next time.
Oh, Mario.